looking at the making of the modern world source inquiry, war and the transformation of British society 31 to 51. It's the June 2015 paper. I'm going to be looking at the 10-mark explain question. Let's first take a look at the mark scheme for this question. Okay, you've got 3 levels. The first level looks at making simple statements from the source or simple statements from your own knowledge. You get 1 mark for 1 statement, 2 or 3 marks for 2 statements. To get to level 2, to get 4 to 7 marks, you need to then support your statement with relevant detail from the source or additional knowledge. You get 4 to 5 marks for using the source or additional knowledge, or the top of the level there for using the source and additional knowledge. Right, to get to level 3, 8 to 10 marks, you need to use both the source and precise additional knowledge, so well selected additional knowledge, to show a detailed explanation what the question is asking you. You get 8 marks for 1 explain factor. Let's have a look at that. 8 marks for 1 explained factor. You are better off doing 1 detailed statement evidence explain paragraph than you are writing 3 or 4 statements with additional knowledge. You get 9 to 10 marks for 2 or more explained factors. And again, very importantly, there's no access to level 3 for answers that do not include additional knowledge. So by not including additional knowledge, you are limiting yourself there to 7 marks. So how would we structure this answer? Okay, it's 10 marks. You've got 15 minutes. Statement, evidence explain, including own knowledge times 3. And don't forget that direct reference from the source is a source work question. So statement, evidence explain. 1 reason for this point here, the explain point, was, for example, the source says, this helps to explain because, and adding in your own knowledge. This will then get you 8 marks. 1 statement evidence explain, 1 well explained point gets you 8 marks. Here, you do the same thing again for 10 marks. You may choose to do 1 paragraph from just your own knowledge. You may choose to do 1 paragraph just from the source. You may choose to do a paragraph that includes the source and own knowledge. There is flexibility in this answer to do that. You just have to show that you are able to select detail from the source as well as selecting detail from your own knowledge to explain. So have a look at the source and the question then from June 2013. Use the source and your own knowledge to explain why the Battle of Britain took place. Source C, from the orders given by the German leader Adolf Hitler on the 1st of August 1940. I want to establish the necessary conditions for the final conquest of Britain. I order the Luftwaffe to use all the forces at its command to defeat the RAF in the shortest time possible. So he's making conditions for the conquest of Britain in the shortest time possible. The primary target should be British planes, airfields and supply organisations. So he's targeting airfields and supplies. He's trying to destroy the RAF. The Luftwaffe should also attack factories, making aeroplanes and anti-aircraft equipment. So stopping Britain from producing more aeroplanes or anti-aircraft equipment. If you take a look at a model answer from last year, this answer got 10 out of 10 in the exam. 1 reason the Battle of Britain took place. So very clear focus on the question there, because Hitler wanted to completely destroy the RAF, picking out a reason. For example, it says, I order the Luftwaffe to use all the forces at their command to defeat the RAF in the shortest time possible. This is direct detail from the source. This is a reason the Battle of Britain took place, as the British defended themselves from the Germans in the air. It's starting to explain. The Battle of Britain was also something that had to be done by the Germans as they were going to attempt to invade Britain. This is own knowledge, isn't it? This is including some additional own knowledge to develop that point. This is because at the time Hitler knew that the Germans could not invade together. The Navy and RAF were too strong. Therefore, he thought that if he would completely destroy the RAF, he had a better chance of invading, as there was only the Navy left. Okay, this is one well-explained point that includes detail from the source, that includes additional knowledge. So already this candidate is looking at strong 8 marks. Let's look at that in a bit more detail, making sure that you can annotate your answer. Where is their clear statement? He's using the wording of the question to show focus here in the orange. He's picking up direct information from that source, starting to show explanation using the wording of the question, and therefore additional knowledge here and here at the end to develop that explanation. Candidate goes on to continue their answer. Another reason, second reason, the Battle of Britain took place, and again using the wording of that question shows clear focus. Hitler wanted to destroy factories and only the RAF bases. For example, it says the Luftwaffe should also attack factories making aeroplanes and anti-aircraft equipment, including detail there from the source. Hitler wanted to bomb these factories, as not only would this prevent further RAF planes being produced, but it would also make it easier to attack Britain with the Luftwaffe, as there would be less anti-aircraft guns to shoot them down. So this here is the explanation. We know this was a reason at the time, as at the time the worst affected parts of Britain from bombing raids were places like Coventry and the East End, where a lot of factories were. So he's bringing in here some additional own knowledge. Hitler targeted highly industrial areas in Britain to prevent them countering the German attack, which was why the Battle of Britain took place, as the RAF did everything they could to protect British factories producing valuable equipment. Okay, looking at that paragraph in slightly more detail there, being able to annotate it. So here, using the wording of the question, showing focus, adding some detail from the source, showing explanation by developing that, and then additional knowledge to further develop that point there. There's a clear structure that the candidate is using over and over again. And if you had a look at more detail at that structure I showed you at the beginning, that is where the candidate has got this structure from. Okay, it flows well, it reads well. Lastly, the candidate offers a final reason, just to make sure that he hits all those 10 marks. Another reason the Battle of Britain took place was because the British did not want to be invaded by Germany. For example, Churchill and Britain knew if they did not put up a fight in the Battle of Britain, Germany was likely to invade. Okay, so this is some own knowledge here. This is because if there was no air force, made a land invasion much easier for Hitler. It's not a particularly well developed point, but it is an extra point, an extra statement, and a reason why the Battle of Britain happened. So as I said, this candidate in the got 10 out of 10. Okay, adding additional knowledge throughout, focus on the question throughout, and detail on the source throughout.